Hello, everybody on YouTube. I would like to talk today about religion and atheism in reference to morality. When you're talking to someone about whether God exists or whether religion is true, there's a series of logical points that can be made on either side. Like, the person in religion will try to argue a reason that God must exist is to start the chain of existence, or that he answers some questions about those things. So that's kind of that's an attempt at a logical argument. I don't think it is substantial, but it's of a logical kind. The atheist will also have some logical arguments, like the ever-retreating religion. The religion's grasp is ever-retreating because it needs to answer fewer and fewer questions as we find real answers for them. And which just reminds me of the bizarre ontological theories of Thomas Aquinas, where God is causing everything to be, along with all of the natural agents that cause it as well. So that there's two causes, because God causes the being of the act, and somehow you cause the act itself. It is bizarre, it is farcically invented, and it is one of the worst notions in philosophy. I detested it even when I was a theist. I detested this notion of divine sustenance to the very level of each and every act that you do is created by God. God is the ultimate smothering mother in this circumstance. But anyway, that has nothing to do with morality. It does, actually, because then there were some interesting questions about, well, God is causing evil acts to exist, and then that was a problematic stance that was corrected by making that the reason it was a sin is because you're causing God to cause evil acts to pop into existence. Anyway, moving on to... So there are logical arguments that people will throw back and forth, but one of the ones that's not an argument that appeals to logic, but appeals to sort of emotion, is to say, but morality comes from God. So we can't have morality without God. And it's not a bad appeal to emotion, because we do want a moral world, and we see a world with morality, and I don't think anyone wants to live in a world where there is no morality. So it's a point that needs to be addressed. It's not simply saying, well, you'll go to hell if you don't believe in God. That's an appeal to emotion that should be dismissed and said, we need to establish if it's true or not, and then we can work from there. We don't work our way into believing something because we're afraid of the consequences of it not happening, thus disproving Pascal's wager, which is also untrue. Pascal's wager, of course, is what harm does it do for you to wager that God exists? You live your life as if God exists, and you lose nothing if he doesn't exist, and if he does exist, you gain heaven. And number one, I think God, if he does exist, would recognize the falseness of his belief. And number two, I think you do lose a lot by leading a religious life. You lose a lot of friends, you lose a lot of pleasure, you lose a lot of sleep over hell and your own soul. You lose your intellectual integrity since you're believing something untrue, and you're believing it for very tortured reasons. You have to torture reason to allow yourself to sustain your belief. Man, I've really gone astray. But I guess I will eventually get around to talking about religion, atheism, and morality in my next video.